comedian Dave Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. I tell you what, I cannot handle the pollution in India. It's too fucking much. I was sitting in the study last night and they were just fucking burning plastic outside the window. Whoever it was, I don't know. There's always plastic burning. There's so much fucking rubbish around that you have to just burn it. There's nowhere to put it. So everyone just burns it, and so you're getting like this toxic fucking smoke just floating into every room of the house. And I was sitting there and I should have just fucking moved rooms, but for some reason I was like, where the fuck am I going to go? To the next room where it's only slightly less toxic? So I sat there for like 40 minutes just inhaling this shit, and I was like fucking almost about to pass out in the end. Then I went to another room and the window in that room was open, so the fumes had come in there, so I couldn't fucking escape. It was intense, and I'm not good with that sort of shit either. That's my kryptonite, is like carbon dioxide or monoxide, whatever the fuck comes out of exhaust pipes. Any sort of like fly spray type shit feels like I'm about to choke to death. Burning shit, besides darts, just fucks me up. So India's not the best place for me. That really is the thing that fucking gets me, is the breathing shit. Don't worry about your stupid fucking viruses. They don't do shit. They can't survive in the Boyle's rig. Also my tooth's fucked as well. I feel like just getting it yanked out. I went back yesterday. They've hollowed it out. They put some medicine in there to kill the infection. I don't know. Just randomly, my mate Cal, for no particular reason, sent me a link to a documentary about root canals and how fucking bad they are for you. How pretty much every health complication or problem can be traced back to a root canal if you've got one, because they can't actually get all the infection out, so they always leave a little bit of the infection in there, and I guess over time it fucks you up. I haven't actually watched it yet, but I remember years ago when I was into conspiracies, I watched something similar to that, saying root canals are fucked, and I had one already, so I was like, nah, this is obviously not true. I'm tempted just to go fucking pull it out, take it out. But the idea of them soaring into my jawbone in bare feet is not appealing at the moment. I'm not overly keen on that idea, so I've got to go back in a week, get it sorted out. I'll make my decision then. So yeah, the fucking pollution here. I tell you what, I went to dinner with my sister-in-law last night and I was having a few vapes, but after inhaling all that toxic smoke, the vapes were like making me fucking real spinny. I was spinning. And then I got home and I don't know if all the fumes were still in the room. I assume they were. But I woke up at like 6:30 this morning and my chest was feeling very congested. A real tightness in my chest. It's gone now, but it was an uncomfortable feeling. It was a little bit disconcerting, to be honest with you. But I've got my sister-in-law here now, so I might get her to take me down to the fucking hospital and get a heart check. I don't know what a heart check is, but I think I'll do one. I was meant to do it last year, but my lung collapsed, and when they were avoiding figuring out what that was, they checked my heart and shit, and it seemed to be fine. But I would like to go for another one because I haven't exactly been healthy since then. Anyway, it's Boyle Breaks History time now. And this week's Boyle Breaks History is going to be on Reaganomics. A topic everyone is interested in. Reaganomics. The only reason I've chosen this topic is because it's been coming up a fucking lot lately on the shit I've been watching. There are Reaganomics this, Reaganomics that. It's pretty much because we haven't been in these economic conditions since Reagan, since the 1980s, with like high inflation, stagflation. Well, we're not in stagflation yet, but fucking we will be soon. So Reaganomics, it's the economic policy implemented by Hollywood actor turned US President Ronald Reagan, the original Donald Trump. So when Reagan got the presidency after Jimmy Carter, the US was in stagflation, so inflation was going higher. job unemployment was going higher, the deficit was blowing out. So Reagan was like, I tell you what I'm going to do to fix and stimulate the economy. I'm going to give some more money to rich people. I'm going to give a pile of money to the richest among us. That's what hippies would say. I'm not a hippie. So Reaganomics is supply side economics. Lubricate the supply side and there'll be a flow-on effect from that. So if you're lubricating the supply side, that means tax cuts for corporations, businesses, capital gains tax cuts, like stimulating the economy by giving businesses more money to work with, which in theory would create more jobs because businesses would employ more people, and then they would pay their workers more because that's what businesses fucking love to do. They love paying their workers more, businesses. I can just imagine if I was a fly on the wall in every single board meeting in every business in the world, it would just be like, how can we reduce profits and pay our workers more? Anyone got any ideas? Yeah, you over there. What's your idea? Well, I'm just throwing this out there, but maybe instead of a $15 million bonus this year, you can take like a $2 million bonus. Can someone fire that guy? Someone fire him immediately. I want some realistic options here. Someone fire that guy. Who's got the power to do that? Me? You're fired. But that was the idea behind Reaganomics. You decrease the taxes for businesses, corporations, all that sort of shit. They reinvest the newfound money, which causes growth, which in turn brings in actually more tax revenue, which decreases the budget deficit. So in theory, everything's amazing. It was also called the trickle-down effect. You give rich people more money, and that newfound money will trickle its way down to the homeless guy sitting out the front of 7-Eleven holding the empty coffee cup. Eventually, a penny gets... That's the trickle-down effect. You give the wealthy extra money, and then eventually, over like the period of 2 or 3 years, a penny will land in a homeless guy's cup. So don't tell me trickle-down economics doesn't work, when clearly it does. So what were the tax cuts that Ronald Reagan brought in? He cut the top tier tax from 70% to 50%. To be honest with you, 70% is pretty fucking high. That's not really motivating for the top tier. Here, I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to create something and then I'm going to give you 70% of it. How about I just do nothing? All right? So 70%, that's pretty fucking high. That doesn't seem outlandish to go from 70% to 50%. He also cut the capital gains tax from 28% to 20%. To be honest, that's a pretty good tax cut. I'm impressed with these tax cuts so far. I mean, I've never earned a capital gain in my entire life, but I plan to at some point. He also lowered inheritance taxes. Well, that's pretty much straight for the wealthy. I have no skin in that game at all. Zero skin. And lowered business taxes. Look, that all seems pretty fine. I don't see a problem with any of that. But apparently what happened was he lowered all these taxes and then cut spending to all the social welfare programs. So he's like, I'm going to give these corporations more money so they can create more jobs, and I'm going to get these fucking moochers away from the fucking soup kitchen. So that's pretty much Reaganomics. I'm not here to say if it worked or not. All I know is the budget deficit didn't reduce. It exploded. It almost doubled from Jimmy Carter's presidency. So yeah, Reaganomics is basically just tax cuts for the job creators, the business owners, the wealthy, in the hope that they will use the extra money available to them to reinvest to create more jobs, which is a huge assumption. You've got to assume that the wealthy are going to spend their money and not hoard it. You've got to assume they're going to pass on the rewards to the people lower down and not just reward themselves. And that's making the biggest assumption of all. That's assuming corporations give a fuck. Anyway, that's Reaganomics 101 with Le Boyle. I hope you're a little bit smarter after that. That'll do for today. If you're enjoying the podcast, give it a share around, and I'll see you the fuck later.